This video is sponsored by iBlazin. This is the Galaxy Z Flip 7. And yeah, the cover screen is the first thing you'll notice, and for good reason. That edge-to-edge display instantly makes the previous model look dated. But the real surprise is what Samsung changed under the hood. It's a change that has everyone pretty divided. Some are fairly upset, while others are really just wondering what it all means. Hi everyone, Thao here. That change, of course, is the chipset. Samsung swapped out the usual Snapdragon processor for their own in-house Exynos 2500. If you're out of the loop, Exynos doesn't have the best reputation, which is why people were already upset before they even got to test the phone. On paper, the Flip 7's CPU gains are minor, but the graphics numbers are actually looking like a nice step up. If you have the Flip 6, you know how toasty it can get, so I was curious to see if they improved things. I tested both side by side doing, everyday stuff, and yeah, the Flip 7 runs cooler, but only by a tiny bit. It's still a very warm phone when gaming or shooting video. You're still gonna feel it. There's only so much you can do with this form factor. Okay, so what about battery life? Samsung did bump the battery size up this year, and yeah, it shows. Tracking battery usage across those same scenarios, the Flip 7 consistently drained less. I wouldn't say it's a massive jump over last year, but I'm getting through most days with around 20 or 30% left. Look, I get it. The lack of a Snapdragon chip is gonna bug some people. You pay flagship prices, you want that household name. You want the best of the best. Samsung's chip is kind of like that underdog trying to prove itself right now. But the Exynos 2500 isn't the deal breaker some were saying it was. Obviously, we'll have to see how well it ages. The edge-to-edge cover screen is 100% the star of the show this year. It's bigger, brighter, and finally smoother with a 120Hz refresh rate. That was one of my biggest complaints with the Flip 6. Going from 60Hz on the cover to 120Hz on the main screen felt super rough. So I'm really glad they fixed it. I love how roomy it feels in general, but where the bigger cover screen really makes a difference is with typing and taking photos. The keyboard is way more usable now. Just look at the difference. And having a larger viewfinder just makes the camera experience better. Out of the box, it's still the same basic setup with widgets only. You can check notifications, make payments, take calls, or skip songs. It also finally has proper Gemini support now, which is huge. On the 6, you had to open the phone every time you want to use Gemini. The widget system is fine, but functionality is super limited until you install a Samsung app called Multi-Star. Once you do, it unlocks full app access on the cover screen, like Google Maps, Instagram, even TikTok, if you don't mind the slightly squished layout. To help with the camera cutouts blocking parts of the UI, Samsung added this little button that shifts everything up or to the left so you can still reach what's underneath. I personally love having quick access to apps like Google Home for smart lights or YouTube, Audible, Pocket Cast, all without opening the phone. Now, yeah, apps are a little janky due to the aspect ratio, so I get why Samsung doesn't enable it by default. But honestly, without Multi-Star, the constant need to flip open the phone just to do the most basic stuff would annoy me so fast. On the other hand, the whole appeal of a flip phone like this is to cut down on distractions. You're supposed to open it with intention, not get sucked into doom scrolling on the cover screen. And with good luck, unlocking full apps like TikTok kind of defeats that purpose. So it really depends on how you want to use the phone. Samsung gives you options for both. The main display is a bit bigger and brighter this year, just 0.2 inches, but that's not the real story. The big deal is the new 21:9 aspect ratio. It finally feels like a normal phone screen instead of a tall stick, and that extra width makes typing so much nicer. But honestly, the best fix, Samsung ditched the polarizer. If you wore sunglasses on the Flip 6, the screen basically turned black. Now, totally fine. It's one of those changes you notice the second you use it. It gets the same hinge upgrade as the Fold 7. Something that always bugged me with the 6 is that the two halves can kind of shift back and forth like this. I don't know if you can hear this. Thankfully, on the 7, it's rock solid. No movement at all. It also doesn't stick out as much, and more importantly, it makes the crease slightly less noticeable. It's still there, but won't feel nearly as deep when you run your fingers across it. The crease really only bothers me when I'm outdoors trying to look at photos. Sunlight bouncing off it can make pictures tough to see. I was showing someone a photo I took of them and they actually said, "I can't see it." there's that thing in the middle of your screen. Kind of embarrassing. An easy workaround is to just bend the phone a bit so it activates flex mode and the image shifts to the top half. Portability is a huge win, of course. It fits way better into small pockets or wristlets, especially in summer when pockets are basically non-existent. You could also add a wrist strap, and it's not terribly uncomfortable to carry in the hand either. Selfies are technically better. You can use the better rear cameras paired with the cover screen as a viewfinder, which means better quality for front-facing shots. Honestly, it might be one of the easiest little vlogging setups out there. The 7 also has the ability to shoot HDR, quick access to filters right from the cover screen, and the ability to move controls around, which is nice. I use dual preview all the time. It lets whoever you're taking a photo of see themselves on the cover screen. My daughter never wants to pose for pictures, but the preview actually gets her attention long enough for me to snap a decent shot. And then there's flex mode. You can half fold the phone and use it hands-free for selfies or video calls. Steering wheel, boop boop boop. Or maybe flip it sideways like a little camcorder. It feels super retro, but also very natural at the same time. Now for the downsides, if you like to grab quick, candid shots of moments, the flip can really slow you down. Having to open it every time adds an extra step. It's just not as quick as a regular phone. And durability is still the biggest worry with any foldable. This one's rated IP48 again, so it's still vulnerable to dust getting in. I've owned every flip since the 3 and only had one screen issue, but there's plenty of complaints online. The cost to fix an out-of-warranty screen is around $400, so yeah, not exactly cheap. Which is why a good protective case is a no-brainer. The one I'm using is from today's sponsor, iBlazin. This is the Cosmo, and honestly, it checks off pretty much every feature you'd want from a case. It gives you solid protection with a hard polycarbonate shell and shock-absorbing corners, but it doesn't feel too heavy or bulky in your hand. There are raised edges around the screen and cameras to keep them safe from scratches or drops, and it even comes with a built-in glass screen protector for that beautiful cover display. But honestly, my favorite part has got to be the hinge cover. It's not just protection, it actually doubles as a little kickstand, so you can prop your phone up and watch videos hands-free. Oh, and it's MagSafe compatible too. Links below if you want to check it out. The phone is running One UI 8 and it's got all the Galaxy AI stuff, but there are a couple of new software tricks worth pointing out. First is the new 90x10 split screen mode. It lets you keep a second app slightly off screen, but still easily accessible with just a tap. And second, this is the first Z Flip to get Samsung DeX. You can finally plug it into a monitor or use it wirelessly for that desktop style experience. I don't think most people buy the Flip for productivity, but it's a nice bonus if you ever need it. Samsung is using the exact same camera hardware as last year, but says their Pro Visual engine will improve pictures. That totally sounds like a lazy excuse to not upgrade the hardware, but to their credit, I have noticed very slight improvements. They've definitely worked on the processing. Colors look more natural now, especially skin tones, and that weird, overly contrasty look from the Flip 6 is gone. Zooms, still the clear weak spot. There's no telephoto lens, so that's kind of expected. It's a little better, I guess, because some of the zoom photos on the 6 look comically bad. One weird thing, the selfie cam on the main screen actually looks a little worse this year. Not because of the camera, but I think it's the screen protector. On the Flip 6, it had a cutout around the camera. On the 7, it doesn't. Probably to keep dust from collecting, but it's affecting the image quality. So yeah, if you're after top tier performance or the absolute best camera setup, this probably isn't the phone for you. But if you want something that's ultra portable, fun to use, and a little different from everything else out there, the Flip 7 is actually in a really good spot. The edge-to-edge cover screen finally gives it that complete modern flip phone look we've been waiting for. As for the chip situation, honestly, it's not a deal breaker like some are saying. Sure, the performance gap between this and the 8 Elite might matter 5 or 6 years from now, but by then, durability will probably be the bigger issue. Yeah, it feels like cost cutting, but ask yourself, would you really pay an extra $100 for a Snapdragon? Because that's exactly what happened with the Fold 7. How you feel about this phone really depends on what you're looking at. That cool new screen on the outside, or the chip running things on the inside. Personally, I think it's a pretty sweet little package, as long as you know what you're getting yourself into. As usual, thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, I'm out of here.